Guys, we are back on the EG33, getting this thing ready to throw into the car. So we have a lot to put on it, so let's get started. So here we have pretty much just an empty short block. Lots to go on still, but I think I have pretty much everything I need to be able to throw it into the car. Obviously, we have seals to put in, gaskets, oil pump, water crossover tube, lots to go on here. So let's get going and just dive straight into this. So I guess as I start throwing parts on here, I will give a quick briefing on what it is and everything. So this is just a OEM EG33 water pump. You can still get them through Subaru, so that is nice. Came with the gasket and the thermoset gasket. So pretty straightforward. Just bolt her on. I don't know. There's a little metal gasket. I honestly can't remember if you're supposed to use silicone or not, so I'm going to anyways just use a light film on it and then bolt her on. Well, easy peasy. Too bad everything didn't go on that easy. Like I said, I just used a tiny bit amount of silicone in there, and obviously there's a metal gasket and that's doing most of the work, but mainly just in case there's that little extra silicone to help seal it. I guess let's move on to the oil pump. All right, this is where things get a little different. So here we have a 12 centimeter high flow JDM EJ oil pump. Yes, this is an EJ 4-cylinder oil pump. As you can see, they are pretty much identical, except for the EG33 has 2 crank position sensors, as the EJ only has 1. Since I am standalone and I only use 1 crank position sensor, I'm going to be using the EJ, but I'm going to have to modify, which this one is the one I already took off. Here's the other one. See how this has 2 trigger wheels on it? The problem is I need the 12 tooth trigger wheel, but it is in the front position. I need it to be in the back position. So I'm actually going to be modifying this one and extending these trigger notches back so that they will be picked up with the crank position sensor in this location. It has been done before, so I know it works. One of the main reasons I'm doing this is because they do not sell the EG33 oil pump anymore. They sell rebuild kits, but I didn't want to do rebuild. I want a brand new, nice one. So I'm choosing to do this method, and I guess we'll see how it works out. So first thing first, when you're installing an oil pump, you have to install the seal. Obviously it goes right there, and you'll want to do that before you put it on. So Gonna lube this up and hammer on in. Now this one you do have to, there isn't a gasket, so you are using RTV to do it. So go around all of the contact places and make sure not to do a lot, because we do not want to get, once it's torqued down, for it to ooze out into the oil, and then you have chances of it breaking off and clogging oil ports. Well guys, oil pump's on, water pump's on, cam seals are in on both sides. Now I think I'm gonna call it a night. You can hear, as you can hear, crickets are chirping. I'm gonna go in and spend time with the family, and then I will hit this off again tomorrow. Well, it is the next day, guys, and I'm getting straight into work here. So what we have here is, typically there is a little barb that comes off here on this coolant crossover pipe, and it goes up into the stock throttle body. But since I am now going with an LS throttle body, I cut off that barb, and I'm going to drill and tap an 1/8 inch NBT. That way I can either just plug it up, which I'm most likely going to do, or down the road I could always add some type of sensor into there if I wanted to. All right, and just like that, we have a plug in there. So now we can throw this tube back on and go put her on the car. Now, before you put this crossover pipe on, remember there are 6 O-rings that need to go on. And then this should just... So we've made a little more progress here. Back of the timing cover's on, tensioner bracket, oil fill tube, coolant tubes. Slowly going along, but it's getting really hot out here, so I think I'm going to call it a day. And I need to order a few parts from Subaru, it looks like. Get them on the way. But so once again, I will see you guys tomorrow, and we continue on this engine. All right, guys, I am back here sitting in front of the engine, and we're going to start putting all of the timing components on. So cam gears, which we have here. So cam gears, idler pulleys and gears for the timing, and then we have to figure out what we need to do to make this crankshaft gear work with this crank positioning sensor. But first off, we're gonna get all of the other timing components on, and then we'll worry about that. All right, now for the cam gear bolts. As you can see here, there's a little trick that I use to hold the gear since I don't have the specialty cam gear. And this obviously only works if you have an old belt laying around, which I do. And so as you can see here, it wraps around and then pinches here. And I use 2 vice grips and then wraps around the next idler gear, and then another 2 vice grips. And so since they are locked together, the gears can't turn at the same time. So you're able to do these, and these are to 80 foot-pounds. And I was able to get that tight with ease, so it worked out great. So now come over here. This one might be a little harder just because I don't have a nice gear here to do it, but I'm sure we can make it work. All right, took a couple tries, but I got her, as you can see. Took a few more vice grips, but hey, if it works, it works. All right, now for the fun part of trying to figure out this crank trigger wheel. So as you can see, everything works just fine except for this trigger wheel needs to be back here so that it can hit in the middle of this sensor here. So really the only way to do that as of now is to try and lengthen these trigger teeth back by adding material onto them. There's a few guys who have done it, and I'm going to attempt to do it. I have another gear that I'm going to be using that this one I already took the back ring off of, as you can see here. In the future, I would like to design one of these rings that look just like this, except for it does have the matching 12 tooth, so that you can, because this is just kind of pressed on there, so you could take this off and then tack the 12 tooth one right in place of it, and then you would have that. And that would make it really easy and pretty sweet. So in the future, I do want to design one of those, but as of now, I'm just gonna have to try and build my own. So let's go over to the welding area and figure it out. Well guys, first tooth is done. So as you can see, I just tacked it onto that second ring there, and this Woodruff keyed stock is the perfect width as the teeth. So all I did was tack the front on and then tacked the back on both sides, and that shouldn't go anywhere. It's not like there's a ton of weight on or anything. It's just holding itself on. So I'll go along and do that and then cut it off a hair longer just to get that little more extension to reach the sensor better, and then just keep going along. So 1 down, 11 more to go. Well, there she is. It was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Obviously with the TIG welder you can adjust the heat to whatever it's like, so you can just barely tack it on there without getting too much warpage of any kind, and yeah, should work pretty good. So I guess let's take this one off and see if we can get this guy on. Well, got the trigger wheel on there, and by the looks of things, looks like everything is gonna work out just great. The teeth go back far enough that it lines up with, like, actually just past the middle of the magnet, and it's going the same distance as the normal trigger wheel would be, so I don't think we will have a problem there at all. So everything went great, and I guess it is time, as you can see, to put the timing belt on. Well, false alarm. I guess I need to trim this lip off before I can put this fluid damper on. Read the instructions, they help. So actually I'm taking this off so that I can trim this without getting plastic all over the engine. So what we have here is a fluid damper crank pulley for, and this is actually just an EG25 STI crank pulley. They work obviously on the EG33 here, and what is sweet is even the timing marks even line up. So that is just another thing you can add to the list, that the EG33 is compatible with the EJ25 parts. And I want to give a shout out to my buddy Jesus, who gave me a good deal on this crank pulley. He has a website where he can get a hold of pretty much anything for any car, import, domestic, diesel. He has the hookup for over 2,500 different brands that he can get parts for literally any vehicle. If you go onto his website at gapcityperformance.com, I'll leave a link up here in the video. You can go check out everything he has, and if it's not on there, email him and he can probably get it for you, just because obviously he's not able to put all those parts on his website. So if there's something on there that you don't want, then just give him an email and I guarantee you he can get it for you. So go check him out. He hooked me up good, and let him know that I sent you over there. Well guys, I think we are pretty much ready to throw this engine in. Obviously I need to put the motor mounts on and the oil pan on, but they are in the engine in the car. And then I'll throw the clutch on before I put it in, obviously. But other than that, it is ready to drop in, and we can actually start making real progress on this instead of just mocking up things with the fake engine. So I think this is where I'm gonna call it for this one. Made a lot of progress. I'm excited that I figured that I finally got to get to that trigger wheel. It's just one of those things where I just went over it over and over in my head, just because that's how I am. And it ended up being a lot easier than I was expecting it to be, so I'm grateful for that. And I guess we'll find out if it's gonna work once we start it up, and we can run a data log and make sure that it's picking up on all those teeth, which I'm pretty sure it is. It is very close to the same specs as the original teeth, so I'm not too worried about it. But we'll have to find out when we first try and start the car. So next video, I think we can start getting ready to throw this engine in. So you guys aren't gonna wanna miss that one. Subscribe so you can catch it when I do throw that out there, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Peace.